In this question, we need to input 5 numbers. And we want to find how many numbers are above 10. How many numbers are above 10? If the count is more than 2, then output move forward. Otherwise, output move backward. So let's try to understand. There's a lot happening. Whenever you are given a question, there's always sample output that is given, an example. There's always an example that is given. And from the example, you should be able to better understand what the question is saying. So the question is saying input 5 numbers. So that's fairly straightforward. So let's input 5 numbers. Let's assume my numbers are 3, 8, 12, 15, and 7. So that's 1, 2, 3. I've got 5 numbers that I've input. So input 5 numbers. Find how many numbers are above 10. No, no, yes, yes, no. How many numbers are above 10? 2 numbers are above 10. So there are 2 numbers above 10. If the count is more than 2, then output move forward, otherwise output move backward. If the count is more than 10, so is this count more than 10? The answer is no. So if the count is more than 10, you say move forward, otherwise you say move backward. So my output here needs to be move backward. Move backward. Because I've input my 5 numbers, I check to see how many are above 10, and it's not greater than 3, therefore I say move backward. But let's assume I had 18. If I had 18, that means this is above 10. So now how many are above 10? The answer now is 3. So if the count is more than 2, yes, it's more than 2. So in that case, you would say move forward. So it's also about being able to read a question and understand what the question is asking you to do, and then to program it accordingly. That's what programming is all about. So we've broken this up. We've broken this up into stages, and the first stage is to input the 5 numbers. Input the 5 numbers. Find how many numbers are above 10, right? Find how many numbers are above 10. Now you have to ask yourself, how do I find how many numbers are above 10? Well, I know I can use an if check. So that's going to be an if check, right? Once I get the number, I want to check if the number is greater than 10. So will that if statement be inside the loop? Or will it be outside the loop? So this is an important consideration. Do I put the if statement inside the loop or outside the loop? So inside the loop means it's going to be done every time the loop executes. Outside the loop means it's going to be done once only. So I need to figure that out, right? This check to see if it's above 10 or not, inside the loop, outside the loop. Then I want to check if the count, right? Remember here, it wanted me to check if it's above 10, and they wanted me to find how many. So I needed a counter. I needed some type of a counter to count how many are above 10. And if the count is more than 2, then I need to output. So here I'm checking again. So there's another check that is being made. So the question is, when do I make that check? When? While I'm in the loop or when I'm outside the loop? So these are key things that I'm going to try to figure out when I'm writing this program. So let's get into our compiler. Right, we'll flip and I'll come back to the question as and when I need to. So for now, right, I remember I've got to input 5 numbers. So let's go for X in range 1, 6. It'll give me 5 numbers and get the number. So num equals input, enter. This gives me the 5 numbers. So that's the basic part to the program. Input the 5 numbers. So I've done that. Now find how many numbers are above 10. How many numbers are above 10? So here I've got the number. While I got the number, I need to check the number. Because remember, it's a loop. When it gets the second number, the previous number is lost. So that immediately tells me I have to check inside the loop while the number is greater than 10. So while I got the number, while I have the number, check it. And if num is greater than 10, I need a counter. Count equals count, an accumulator. How much do you want to accumulate by? I want to accumulate by 1. And you know that every time you create an accumulator, you need to set the accumulator, in this case, to 0, not 10, to 0. There we are. So I've got this accumulator. The accumulator will accumulate when the number is greater than 10. So if the number is greater than 10, it just simply accumulates. If it's not greater than 10, nothing happens because I don't have an else statement. This is a one-way if statement. It's a one-way if statement. Okay. Now that loop is going to continue 5 times. Get the number, count it, and it's going to just execute 5 times. When it's finished 5 times, I now have this count to tell me. Remember, the question was asking. How many, right? How many numbers are above 10? And if the count is more than 2, if that count is more than 2, then move forward or move backward. If the count is more than 2. So that then tells me I need another check, but that check needs to be done once. When you are finished with the loop, if count is greater than 2, then you want to print. Forward. Else, if it's not greater than 10, print. Move backward. So here I had all of these different checks that I needed to make. One, the first check was counting while the loop was executing. That check was counting while the loop was executing. And while it was checking, it was counting how many numbers, how many of the numbers are greater than 10. And when it's finished, when it is finished, I check the counter. If that counter is greater than 2, then move forward. Otherwise, move backward. So let's give this a quick run and let's see what we get. 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to enter 5, and none of the numbers are greater than 10. So my counter is going to be 0, so it should tell me move backward. And there it is. It is saying move backward. Let's now run it again. This time around, let's enter numbers that are above 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got 3 numbers above 10. The other numbers don't need to be above 10. And there we are. It's now saying move forward. It's saying move forward because the counter picked up 3 numbers. The counter picked up 3 numbers that were above 10. This is how you would go about solving a question like this.